John chapter 10, reading verses 1 through 10. Very truly I tell you, anyone who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, but climbs in by another way, is a thief and a bandit. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him. The sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he has brought out all his own, he goes ahead of them. And the sheep will follow him because they know his voice. They will not follow a stranger. They will run from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. So Jesus used this figure of speech with them, but they did not understand what he was saying. So again he said to them, very truly, I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and bandits, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved, and will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. This is the gospel of the Lord. Thanks be to God. To see that our children have life and have it abundantly is the mission we pledge ourselves to as parents and as church members when we make our promises in baptism and confirmation. I hope the parents in this congregation know this church is a safe place where your child's best interests are foremost on our minds, and we are here to support you and lend a sympathetic ear if needed. And Lord knows, sometimes it's needed. Being a parent can seem like an episode of Mission Impossible. You know, the standard opening, someone is handed a tape with the outline of some outlandish task that will be set before them if they choose to accept it. Then the tape, or now the computer disk, or whatever, self-destructs so that the blame for any mistakes cannot be traced back to the original source of the assignment. If you put my own parents' story into a Mission Impossible format, the beginning in 1947 in New York City might have gone like this. Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Moran. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to become parents for the second time at ages 45 and 46. To expect a girl, but get a boy. To both continue to work full-time to support 2 children, a grandmother, and 2 sisters. To provide emotional compensation to the older brother who is about to be displaced as an only child. They didn't do too good at that. The brother's still a little To offer this baby a stable home, a good education, a nurturing environment, enough direction to stay on the path, but not so much as to ferment rebellion or stifle individualism. To be told by the experts that the modern way to raise your child is completely different from what you were told 7 years ago, before World War II, with your first child. To model religious faith with an active role in your church, many hours spent planning suppers, strawberry festivals, rummage sales. To model gender equality in a world of unequal pay for equal work. To be parents of a teenager when you are in your 60s. To love both sons and to mediate their differences when one grows up to be an airborne ranger fighting in a second deployment in Vietnam and the other a peacenik minister. To wait and wait and wait for your first grandchild who will be born when you are in your 80s. To lavish money on your children and grandchildren when they visit New York so they can ride down Fifth Avenue in a horse-drawn buggy and buy endangered species stuffed animals at FAO Schwartz. To enjoy a quiet, orderly life in retirement, but never lose your cool when the grandchildren turn your 2-bedroom apartment into something resembling a trailer park after a tornado has passed through. You know, my parents faced this impossible mission when you consider all the physical, emotional, social, and financial tasks they juggled. But they would not have been the kind to complain because in part they knew they were not alone. I mean, almost every family, if you just asked them to tell their story, would have a tale just as compelling and just as filled with challenges and surprises, because raising children really is a mission impossible, in spite of the fact that so many fathers and mothers have turned that impossibility into a blessing over countless generations. And they do it with such quiet persistence that sometimes their children don't know what they've done until we no longer have the benefit of it. Now I'm crying at supermarket openings. I don't know. This must be what happens when you turn 70. Mission Impossible, has its own theme music. Dum. Do you know what it is? Dum, 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 dum. Ah! That's it. Thank you. But if somebody were to make a movie of the years my wife and I had 2 teenage girls in the house, I would want the theme song to be Leon Russell singing Tightrope. I'm up on a tight wire. One side's ice and one is fire. It's a circus game with you and me. I'm up on the tightrope. One side's hate and one is hope. The top hat on my head is all you see. And the wire seems to be the only place for me, a comedy of errors, and I'm falling. We wanted to be good shepherds. We wanted to do the right thing. We read books. We took courses. We had rules. We set boundaries. We ate dinner together. But often it felt like this balancing act between off you go and get over here. Thomas Merton wrote a prayer about his uncertainties as a member of a religious community. He was a monk, trying to discern the will of God and the path to closer communion with God. But I would suggest this is also a helpful prayer for parents who have accepted the mission of raising their children to have life and to have it abundantly. My Lord God, I have no idea where I am going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end, nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think I am following your will does not mean I am actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does, in fact, please you. And I hope I have that desire in all I am doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Therefore, I will trust you always. Though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death, I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone. That's what the shepherd promises the flock. That's what the parent promises the child. It's a walk of faith. It takes a community of faith. I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone.